At the time I hired in, I was a customer engineer, and world headquarters was on 590 Madison Avenue, 590 Madison Avenue.
Madison.
And I worked there, was in there a few times, and I went into I knew where Mr. Watson's office was. And one time I went to a meeting up in the building there, when there was all the employees in the building. Mr. Watson came in. They all sang "Hail to Mr. Watson."
Oh my goodness!
And then another time, did you know that salesmen, when they make quota, they have you make 100% club. Let me tell you, the one Mary and I went to, while we worked in New York City, the customer engineers got an invite to go to the 100% dinner. And there's at the Waldorf Astoria.
Oh.
Anyway, we went there and went up on the 11th floor, and there was a receiving line. Guess who stood in the Mr. Watson and his wife.
Oh my goodness.
And I think they gave Mary a corsage, I forgot, it was an orchid or something. And we sat there and ate the meal and so on. And something else I can tell you, he didn't go for smoking. There was 3 customer engineering offices in New York City,
wow.
Downtown, Midtown, and uptown. I think I worked in the Midtown, and I used to service typewriters around Radio City and all up and down Fifth Avenue. In the morning I'd go to the office and then go up across over by Radio City, and one of my biggest customers was in the Esso Standard Oil building on 15 West 51st Street. You wouldn't know where that was, would you? And I had the whole building. There was 20 floors, and when they put in a call, people in the building had IBM typewriters, and they told them on one of the floors, if you need a repair, you got to call downstairs so those people put in the call, and when I had to go to their office, and they'd tell me to go up to the 5th floor or whatever. They were such a good customer. I made it a point of just dropping in there most every day, see if they had any calls. They didn't call in very often. People that owned typewriters, they all that had a service contract with IBM, and we had to, I think, inspect their typewriters every 3 months. Whether they had a call or not, you had to go in, and I think it was every 3 months, and go in and clean the typewriter out, and
wow.
do that. I think it's been so long. I think it was every 3 months, and then I had to write up a report and turn it in. That I account for my time. I had to account for the time all day long. They'd have interviews every so often. You see, and I used to tell them I want to get into. I have an engineering degree, and I would like to go into engineering. So I finally got a chance, and I went up to Poughkeepsie.
Oh.
And worked in the plant up there. And then while I was working in the plant in Poughkeepsie, we got word they're moving to Kentucky. And people said, "Where's Kentucky?" And so Barry and I flew down here and looked around at different houses. And finally we said, "We'll take this one."
Okay.
But when I first started, I just worked on the drafting board. In fact, a whole lot of the time, that's how I did this stuff, working on the drafting board, drawing up stuff. You know what else? While I was working here in Lexington, the group I was working with they were working on the typewriter, and they told them they were going to move to Austin, Texas. Now, I could have gone, but I told them I didn't want to go, so I stayed here. And then, not long after that, the group I was working with got to move to Boulder, Colorado. And I didn't go with that, because my home was, people were back in New York. I'm glad I didn't go, because the product that went to Texas was after they went, I worked on copiers for a little while. And they're the ones that went to Boulder, Colorado. And something I worked on for a while was a sorter. You know what a sorter is? I just tried to build a thing. I helped them build this sorter. I had to draw it up and put the thing together. Before I hired in with IBM, after I got out of high school, I went to work up in Messina for Alcoa. Worked there for 2 years, but while I was there, I got drafted. 1944, I got drafted and went overseas. Then when I come back in 1946, I went to Clarkson and got my degree in Clarkson and finished in 1950, and that's when I hired in with IBM. I went there was Clarkson College in engineering. You know, I'm a rambling right from Clarkson Tech. The other thing, when I first got the computer, I brought a phone line in, and I could dial a number, and they would update my computer. But
Yep.
I ran a phone line. See my phone lines? I ran in a phone line, hooked it up here, and I used to get my computer updated, but I never checked into the internet. Oh, back in those days, you had to watch out for viruses coming
Viruses,
on, and I was always said I didn't want a virus. People would get virus and then it mess up their computers.